What does Islam say about luck and prediction? Things like that. Let's see what Brother Augustine from Argentina, who asked us the question, has to say. Well, I believe that half of Argentina is named Augustine, the other half is named Juan, and the truth is that these are very famous names in Argentina. Well, then Brother Augustine from Argentina says, good night, Sheij Qomi. May the peace and blessing of Allah be with you, 2009. You are a cultured person, and I am sure you will be able to address my concern. God knows I am a professor of philosophy, although for the last 4 years I have led a wandering life, traveling everywhere. Using my knowledge of tarot. Tarot. What is tarot? Well, we have a word tarot that I will explain later, and we have the words Harut and Marut in the sacred Quran, and alternative energy therapies. Alternatives mean that we will no longer respond to science. We do everything and we pretend that all of this exists to make a living. Well, that's how people earn a living. Very well. I discovered a tarot school that claims the original tarot remained in Fez, Morocco. Everyone says that the original is mine. In the 12th century, at a convention of wise men from all over the world to codify the knowledge of salvation symbolically, the school that promotes that tarot, in case you want to verify, is called something like Beldaf something. 3 days ago, I embraced Islam. Very well, I have been embracing Islam for 3 days. And my doubt is whether the study of Western mysticism codified in tarot is aligned with or contrary to the practice of Islam. In summary, the original tarot was a symbolic means of healing the subconscious programming, induced by evil to make man fall into forgetfulness. Therefore, the original tarot is a symbolic medicine to remind us of our union with absolute consciousness. Thank you for your attention, your time, and your service to humanity. May Allah grant you health and blessings. Well, we are going to respond to our dear brother Augustine. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Dearest brother Augustine, the Argentine philosopher, may God bless you. How are you, brother? Well, let's respond to you one by one. First, the word tarut. The word tarut, what you originally say, I don't know, is from Morocco. I don't know. Things like that. God knows the truth. We have a similar word that is in the Holy Quran, which is not tarot, but rather Harut and Marut. Harut and Marut. You can find it in the Holy Quran. Surah Al-Baqarah, chapter 2 of the Holy Quran, verse 1 and 2. I will explain it to you. Perhaps this can help you, and then I will talk about what I have seen. In the Holy Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah, chapter 2, verse 1 or 2, which discusses things like sorcery and magic. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. They followed the instructions of the demons in the kingdom of Solomon. After Solomon, who? The Jews, the children of Israel. Well, the Jewish concept is for after Ezra and Nehemiah, so one cannot say the Jews. One must say the children of Israel. The children of Israel, after the prophet Solomon, followed the instructions of the demons, engaging in sorcery. And Solomon was never an unbeliever. So everything that is said in the Bible, in the book of Kings, 2nd. I don't know of other books in the Bible that speak ill of the prophet Solomon, claiming he was an unbeliever who built a temple for foreign idols, for idols that his unbelieving wives worshipped, is pure lie. And the prophet Solomon never yielded to sorcery, never connected with demons by accepting their dominion, but instead enslaved the jinn, and they worked for him in free service. Even the enemies of Yen, who were the demons, also worked for the prophet Solomon. The prophet Solomon was never an unbeliever. He never yielded to sorcery or spells. However, those who became unbelievers, rejecting the truth knowingly, succumbed to sorcery. I need a lemon faruyo from Walla King Asia Olding. But the unbelieving demons, they began to teach sorcery to the people. So here it speaks of two angels of God, named Harut and Marut. Harut and Marut. Where did those angels of God go? To Babylon. God says that everything that descended was brought down by two angels of God in Babel, in Babylon. Those angels were called Harut and Marut. They were not fallen angels, but two missionary angels sent by God who brought the message against witchcraft and the temptations of Liabi. And these two angels nullified sorcery by teaching people words, supplications to reject sorcery. 2009. Ejaculate in the early morning absolutely does not fit you, fanatic. And those two angels, when they were teaching him, warned that this is a counterattack against witchcraft, telling people to be very careful because it is a double-edged sword. If you misuse this knowledge, it will harm you. They were teaching him counterattacks against witchcraft so that the people who learned it could abuse this. Then these angels warned him, saying, be very careful not to abuse these spells, these words, and all of that. But what happened? The children of Israel abused these teachings, taking the path of demons. What did they do? Fala Talamuna, Minujona, and Mayofari with a Vigiladina, Damaru, and Vesauji. And they began to learn all the teachings of those angels, using this to divide and create conflict between a man and his wife. How to do it? Look, a person who commits sin has the ear of the heart open to the temptations of the devil. So, a person who uses these spells, this thing, can connect with demons and tempt the heart of that sinful man, the heart of that sinful woman. Then that person starts to think badly of their spouse, meaning they have very cruel negative thoughts against their partner. They think that their partner is a traitor. They think that their partner is the worst. Everything makes you think poorly of your partner. Where does all that come from? You have prepared the ground with sin. And who sowed in that? The devil through temptations. And another fault of yours after preparing the ground with sin for the devil is that you prepared the devil's dominion for yourself. Then, your second fault is that you have heeded the temptations. When a doubt arises against your partner, you must silence that doubt. Be quiet. Do not let that doubt come, that temptation come to your mouth, speaking ill of your partner. Unfortunately, many people are sinners because they allow these temptations of the devil from the heart, which they have opened to the demon. Go to your tongue, for through the tongue they will sting your partner, and they will fight. And each one is such an arrogant sinner, showing no mercy in what they say, showing no mercy in what they do. And the devil sets the next step for you. Betray your partner. It pushes you to betray your partner. Men are pushed into pornography, then into alcohol, and then into fornication. It pushes women in the same way. First to exhibitionism, then to seek other lovers, and finally to fornication. It is pushing everyone. You sand. So in the end, when you give in to the temptations of the devil, you will end up divorcing or separating from your partner. So, does the sacred Quran not think that they are countering the will of God? No, it is that God created that world in that way. Some think, the power of the demon is a parallel power against the power of God. No. Everything that is happening in the world is with God's permission. God allowed you to disobey God, even though you will receive punishment. But if God had not allowed it, that could never happen. This means that This creation of God, the earth, has that, we can say, that character, that a person, even though they are a servant of God, can disobey God. So, do you not think that this is against the will of God and that God is suffering seeing that scene? Oh no, please. God already says, I have given you free will. You can do good. You can do evil. I will give you the power to do everything, and I will judge you for what you do with your free will. Are you saying that you don't think the devil is counterattacking, breaking God's power on earth? That's a lie. The devil has power only by God's permission. It is a test from God, and the temptations he can create are also with God's permission. It is not that God is satisfied with the demon. No. The demon is another disobedient servant of God. That's it. Then, Yusan says, they began to learn everything that harmed him, and it has not been of any use. Surah Al-Fatiha. And they knew that they are indeed selling their entire life beyond for a little benefit here. How ugly it is what they have sold themselves for, because a person, due to sin, is selling themselves short for a little sin, selling everything of the life beyond. If they truly knew the truth, they would not do such a thing. So, that story clearly speaks of two angels of God who came with a mission to put a test and to teach things to the people. The people, the children of Israel, abused it and then fell into another sin. Well, then here is a question. Is there anything left from the teachings of those angels? Any of those teachings? Some scholars say yes. That is called ulume garibe, the occult sciences. And through those occult sciences, a person can understand things. They can have some access to a world beyond. So there are small things, but they do exist. But is acquiring this hidden knowledge prohibited in Islam? Are you asking if it is allowed for you to start these rituals to contact demons in order to gain something from it? No, it is not permitted in Islam. Why? First, because you need to be part of them to receive this information or to do what is called witchcraft. Witchcraft is nothing more than making you imagine things, making you envision things. It means it is a power, it is a control over the mind. The sacred Quran says, when it speaks of the sorcerers, the magicians of Pharaoh, they performed magic in the eyes of the people, making them see this. These sorcerers of Pharaoh's temple could not create snakes from the stick. No. They made it appear so. That means those people were manageable. Why? Because they had sin. And this, even psychologically, has been affirmed by recent scientific studies that a person, through inspirations and temptations, can imagine things that do not exist in the real world. For example, among the side effects of drugs, this exists. A person who consumes, for example, marijuana, says that they are seeing things that you, as a normal person, do not see. It means that just as the side effect of a drug makes you see things that do not exist, the same effect comes from the 2000 sorcery. When you are a sinful person, it means your mind is manageable by the magicians. Do you see? It's like in the movies. They make you imagine things that do not exist. Witchcraft follows the same format and affects people who are not believers. So, well, now that you know all this, let's see. The brother is talking about something. It's called. It doesn't say about Harut and Marut, but it says, 1. It's called tarot. What is tarot? I researched it. Tarot was a medieval card game. It was founded, and there are, certain cards that are major cards, 22 cards, about 50, 56, other types of minor cards. And through that, each card has an image. And they will use it like a draw, and suddenly they will make predictions through those cards. It used to be a game, then it became a form of prediction, or they will explain to you about the past, the present, and the future. And there are people who pay to receive these silly things. I call them silly because they have nothing to do with the real world. How do they do it? Well, just do a Google search on how this divination, this horoscope is done through those tarot cards. And you will see that the person doing it first needs to have certain information about the individual. And it's better if they know something about psychology through experience or study. Then people start touching on general rules of life, and you take it personally, thinking, oh, look, that person is saying things about my life. Oh my God, how wise they are. For example, everyone in the past has experienced failure. Everyone in the past has had someone who loved them and then lost that person. It is normal for a person who is 40 years old to have necessarily lost friends and to have had friends who betrayed them. That is the rule of life. There are many rules of life where everyone has goals, has purposes they wanted to achieve and lost, wanted to achieve and succeeded, or wanted to achieve and are in the process of achieving. So they talk about these three. Oh, I see here in this card that you had something and you lost it. Ah, my God, how much it knows about my life. You have had a love that lets you down. And look, when you are single and 40 years old, just imagine, you should have had some lost loves. So you had a love, a girl, that's how I see it, that beautiful girl who betrayed you. She was so unpleasant, you said. Many people demand things from others and think that others are not giving them what they deserve. So they are going to lay down a E card. It says justice. Oh, you demand that they give you this and they have not given you what you deserve. Everyone knows that if you put in more effort, you will achieve your goals. There are always difficulties. In every mountain of life that you want to climb, there are obstacles. Here is an obstacle. And how do we overcome obstacles? Sacrifices, everyone knows that, but there will always be some difficulties along with the opportunities. There it is. I am going to give you good news that you will have an ease in the future. And what else? Another thing is general concepts of human life. Then they talk about general concepts of human life. So why do people like those silly things? Because people know that this is not true. They want, or let's say, they like to believe that it is true. Why? Why? Look, dear brothers, human beings always love to seek easier paths. For example, everyone now says, let's put a title on a talk. Do you want to become a millionaire in a day? Everyone in the world comes to see this video. We are even going to make it so that you can see it. Yes, so that you can see it. How do you want to become a millionaire in a day? A lie. But everyone seeks it because human beings are lazy. Human beings think that they can always seek an easier path to achieve the most difficult. How can this be? It's impossible. It's madness. But through this thing, these predictions, supposed false predictions, he wants to achieve it. But how do the people who profit from this do it? There are people I have said are wise. They are psychologists. And when you go to see a person, with the first phrases and the responses you are going to read, you can see in their body language. Because you know, when you talk to someone, they react to you with body gestures, body language. So, while you are giving signals and receiving answers, you will shape the rest of your talk. Do you understand? So, a person who is highly gifted, intelligent, and knows something about psychology and has some experience based on your clothing, the culture you are in, the language you speak, and your demeanor will spend the first 5 minutes trying to extract information from you in order to later form their prediction and advice based on what they received from you. That means these fortune-telling people, the ones who do tarot readings, are like detectives of the community. Detectives who can take all the symptoms of your problems and form the answer from them. I do it too. That is, a person comes to talk to me in 2 minutes. I can tell you what his problems are in 2 minutes by the way he dresses, by the way he speaks. You lack self-esteem, you lack this. It's because you were criticized when you were young. I did it 1,000 times. And some students told me, Sheikh, you are a riddle. I said no. It's just that I have had a lot of experience with thousands of people, with many thousands of people from many other countries. I have had experience with people from the East and the West. I have had students from all over. So, based on all those experiences and a few books, very few books on psychology that I have studied and taught, I will form this with that little bit. All that information is there. And when someone is talking to me, yes, then I will think about the roots of their thinking. As a very famous book by Jeffrey Young, How to Restore Life. Let me see the name. This is a psychologist, Jeffrey Young, who is an American psychologist best known for developing schema therapy. He is the founder of the Schema Therapy Institute. So, there is a book about restoring your life. How to restore life. I don't know how they say it in Spanish. That book, well, that's its name, which has been sold more than 100,000 or 100 million copies. How to Restore Your Life is a work. If you read that book, then many people, many problems that you have, just by listening to it, you realize the problems of others. So you can set up this tarot shop. And through that, it is a game of cards that you play with the person. You won't tell them that you are taking cues from their gestures. That if I am reading you, sir, it is from your face, from the way you speak, from the way you approached me. If this that you are going to entrust to a fortune-telling person means anything, it indicates that you lack self-confidence. What you are about to confide in someone means that you have many problems and thousands of other things. You are looking for an easy job and don't want to put in the effort. And well, I use all that information against you. And you say, oh Sheikh, you know so much about my life. No, it's just that I haven't known anything, nor do I have contacts with the hidden world. It's not just that. It's a matter of being a little intelligent and knowing how to form the sentences to convince you. And you, who like the easy way, then say, oh look, give me advice to become a millionaire in a day. And that person takes advantage of your greed, your ambition, and defeats you. And that one abuses you and will give you things that are largely lies. And in part, yes, things that have been invented to deceive you. Now we will see, since we have learned all these details. So, dear brothers, does Islam allow it or not? Islam prohibits deceiving people. If you say that you have contact with the world beyond, things like that are not allowed. But if you tell the truth, it is a therapy that helped you change your mindset, whether you do it with anything. But that person explains that you are not a fortune teller, you are not someone who is telling you, reading your past. Look, I see. No, don't lie. If you don't lie, and he says it is a trick. That trick, whether with cards, with letters, or whatever it is a trick. And that therapy is sometimes a psychological therapy through a game. That game can be a card game. Yes, as long as it is not for betting, because anything related to betting in Islam is haram, meaning it is prohibited. If that tarot card game is also a gambling game and somewhere in the world they are going to gamble with these cards, it is not allowed to even use it for therapy. So, well, dear brother, final conclusion. In Islam, abusing people's ignorance is prohibited. Sorcery is prohibited. Using people by deceiving them, taking advantage of them, is prohibited. However, providing therapy, conveying hope, and helping to resolve people's psychological problems is allowed. If you win the ball with it, with positive psychology, it is allowed. That you give good advice helps him to shape his life, to leave his vices, to overcome his flaws. It is perfect. But if you are pretending lies, knowing that it is a lie, and making money through that lie, it is absolutely prohibited in Islam. It is fraud. That is fraud. It is a form of stealing because that person trusts you for who you are not, and you are giving them falsified information because you know at the moment they are talking to you about their future and other matters, and you know you are lying, and one cannot lie in Islam. It is not allowed. So, dear brother, know the Islamic rules and live your life according to the Islamic principles that God has stated. Salvation lies in truthfulness. In truthfulness, be truthful, and you will see that God will also bless you. May God bless you, and may the peace and blessing of God be with all of you.